There now follows a party political broadcast by the Conservative Party.
The Prime Minister announced the date of the general election today, bringing to an end the phony election war. Britain will go to the polls on...
In a nail-biting finish, it looked tonight as if Tony Blair was heading for Downing Street.
Britain's first Labour Prime Minister for 18 years.
1,000 days, yes, to prepare for that 1,000 years.
The new Labour Prime Minister, Tony Blair, today unveiled what he called the first great act of the new government. In sweeping changes to the education system, parents will see a massive reduction in their choice of school for their children. Grammar schools, grant-maintained schools, and the assisted places scheme will all go.
In a widely predicted move, the new Labour Chancellor, Gordon Brown, today announced a sharp rise in interest rates. He said he regretted the increase, which was necessary to reassure the city. But the CBI...
The Prime Minister will meet union leaders today to try and avert the threatened one-day public services strike next week. A spokesman for Mr. Blair said the new Labour government would not give in to union demands for higher pay rises.
Inflation rose last month, but the Chancellor, Gordon Brown, said the rise was no cause for concern.
Britain's facing a summer of discontent tonight as talks broke up between the unions and the Labour government.
Unemployment went up last month for the first time in a year. Employers' organisations described it as a worrying sign of things to come.
As the NHS strike entered its fifth week, public sector union leaders agreed to stand firm in their battle with the new Labour government for higher pay rises.
The government today announced an emergency package of tax increases following legal challenges to its planned windfall tax. There'll be a new tax on child benefit, on healthcare for pensioners,
The sharp rise in the public sector borrowing requirement caused jitters in the city today.
The government tonight gave in to union demands for an inflation-busting pay rise.
Unemployment rose again last month for the fifth time in a row. Employment Secretary Michael Meacher explained that there was bound to be some shakeout in jobs following the introduction of the minimum wage. But he refused to predict any end to the job losses.
In his first budget today, Chancellor Gordon Brown confirmed expectations that hefty tax rises are on the way. Following the Labour government's decision to relax spending limits, the Chancellor argued that the only way to raise the money needed was through across-the-board tax increases. MPs reacted angrily.
The European summit has ended with Britain giving up her veto in a wide range of areas. Foreign Secretary Robin Cook, in a statement afterwards, welcomed the deal as the first sign of a new socialist alliance in Europe.
Welcome to the first Money Watch of 1998. Today we'll be examining ways you can protect your family's budget in the light of the recent sharp rises in mortgage rates.
Family doctors have condemned the Labour government's decision to abolish GP fund holding. But union leaders welcome the move. In a statement today, they said...
John Prescott has resigned from the Cabinet.
Britain was plunged into constitutional crisis today as the Scottish Parliament refused to back down in its standoff with Westminster over tax, spending and voting rights. The Parliament threatened to begin moves to take Scotland out of the United Kingdom unless Westminster backed down within 100 days.
Tony Blair finally lost his battle with left-wing MPs today as he agreed to their demands to repeal all Conservative anti-strike laws. The 50 rebel MPs, led by Labour's deputy leader John Prescott, now outside the Cabinet, had threatened to bring down the Labour government unless he agreed to all their demands.
Inflation's up again to its highest level.
The car giants blamed their decision to close the plant at a cost of 5,000 jobs on spiralling costs following the Labour government's introduction of new regulations under the European Social Chapter.
Violent crime rose sharply over the last 3 months, but the Labour government again ruled out implementing the former government's law on minimum sentences for violent criminals. Opposition leaders...
The influential OECD has revised its forecast for Britain's economy. It predicted that next year Britain would face a slowdown in growth and that unemployment would continue to rise.
New budget, new taxes. In his second official budget today, Chancellor Gordon Brown announced a further increase in income tax.
Higher mortgages are on the way.
Tax increases.
Sharp rise in interest rates.
Constitutional crisis.
Growing economic instability.
Transport strikes.
The end to the job losses.
New taxes, London tax.
That was a party political broadcast by the Conservative Party.
ITN News at 10 with Trevor McDonald.
Showdown on the NHS. MPs are voting now. Inquiry opens into 20-year sex abuse scandal. First pictures of the moment Fawcett's balloon came to Earth. And a new royal role, the Duchess, as you've never seen her before. Good evening. The government will know in a few minutes from now if it survived a vote in the Commons on its record on the National Health Service. It's looked very close all day. However, the rebel Conservative John Gorst announced a short time ago that he would be voting with the government. He claimed that the Health Secretary, Stephen Dorrell, had made major concessions over an accident and emergency unit in Mr.